So let's look at some of the facts to back up some of the things that I've said already. Some of the facts which we simply cannot ignore as real professionals, as intelligent human beings, really, that we cannot ignore, that we can't afford not to fold into our plans, our strategies, our actions going forward. Let's then look at the brutal truths. These are official statistics. I find it staggering. Gross domestic product, national income fell by more in the year 2009 than in any single year of the Great Depression. We were brought up as kids believing that the 1920s were the 20s and early 30s were the worst economic catastrophe ever to hit capitalism, and it would never be that bad again. 2009 it was worse. We're now in the jaws of the longest and deepest recession for 55 years, and quite frankly, it's pretty scary because I think we've got a double dip, and many other people do as well, a major double dip coming, haven't we? But even before the double dip and the Greek thing and all the rest of the Portugal and Italy and Ireland and Spain and so on, Mervyn King, Governor of the Bank of England, said families face years of pain. Whose families? Your family, my family, your clients' families. The adjustment, the correction, the making up for, the paying for the last few years, or the previous 20, 30 years of excess in the States, and the last 2 or 3 years of crisis, is going to involve years of pain. Not a little bit of discomfort, years of pain. Governor of the Bank of England. This is a fundamentally different world, unless any of you were in practice before the Great Depression of 1929. Looking around the room, I don't think we were. This is the hardest it's ever been in our careers. And we know that already, don't we? We're already beginning to experience that. If, by the way, your practice hasn't experienced the consequences of that very dramatically so far, count yourselves very lucky, but do not be complacent. It's still happening. The consequences are typically felt long after things start to get better. CCH did a research study at the beginning, or published it in March last year, so just over a year ago. And they surveyed in detail over 1,000 clients. I think they carried out telephone interviews with over 1,000 clients. Really staggering findings. 52% of these clients, these were clients of tax advisors, so the tax arm of practices like yours, independent practices, and they were looking at their tax provision. 52% of their clients did not believe that their accountant would save them money. And when we look at some of the things which accountants could do but mostly aren't doing, as the day unfolds, you'll probably understand why that figure's probably accurate. Interestingly, 36% of them weren't happy with the service they were getting. So some clients are happy with an accountant who doesn't save them money. I find that odd, but nevertheless that does seem to be the implication. But most aren't happy. And what's really interesting is that when they also looked at the likelihood of these clients switching from their existing provider to another provider, what they found was that the better clients were the ones most at risk of leaving. They were the ones that recognised that they can probably get better service, better input, smaller tax bills, more proactivity elsewhere. The very ones that you're most exposed to losing, if you don't make sure that your service levels are right up there at the very top of what's possible, are the ones you very least want to lose. They're your key clients. So the risk is very, very real. On the other side, the same study, they found that businesses are most satisfied when they receive active, in other words, proactive support rather than reactive content. Clients aren't very happy if they have to wait and then prompt their accountant. Do you think I should do something about tax credits, for example? If you're not getting in there and talking to them first about whether they should be claiming tax credits, how they can optimise their claim, whether there are tax credit implications of other decisions that are being made, tax credit just an example, but if they have to come to you and ask about it, then we're being reactive as professionals, not proactive. We're letting them down. What they want more than anything else is proactive contact. And in fact, 2020, over a number of years, have conducted 20,000 telephone surveys. This is the largest survey ever undertaken over many years. And the way they've done this is they've identified 400 firms of accountants, and they've identified their top 50 clients. These are great clients, 20,000 in total. And they asked them, what more than anything else do you want your accountant to do more of? And what they want their accountant to do more of is be proactive. The evidence base for the desire amongst clients for us to be proactive is huge. The evidence in the marketplace that we aren't being as proactive as we ought to be is also pretty compelling. Clients don't believe their tax bills are as low, they're not very happy with the service. The need to do something about it is enormous. Now, we recognise the importance of proactivity. That's why we're at a course designed to help us be more proactive. Otherwise, why would you be here if you didn't think it was important? I also bet, I haven't done this, but I bet that if I did visit your websites, or sat in on your meetings, or looked at your marketing material, every single firm in this room would use the word proactive somewhere, either verbally or in writing. Because almost every accountant uses it, however it's a cliche. Almost every accountant, when asked, are you actually proactive? Do you need to be more proactive? Agrees that they do need to be more proactive. They aren't proactive enough. We know it's crucially important, but we just haven't got the time. Sound familiar? There isn't enough time to go to the client with all these ideas that we could share with them in an ideal world with an unlimited amount of time. So the reality is that clients desperately want us to be more proactive. The problem is that there isn't enough time. Our to-do lists, our in-trays are already huge. You're already working flat out in order to create the levels of revenues and profits that you're creating, in order to deliver the levels of service which the clients are in the main across the profession not perceiving as good enough. But we're already busy. We're already working damn hard. Steve, you're asking us to do more? Now I'm asking you to think about what's the cause and then address the causes. But the problem is that we aren't proactive enough because there isn't enough time. Why is that the case? Because there isn't a big enough fee. If the fee were bigger, the budget would be bigger, there'd be more time to service the client and be more proactive, wouldn't there? The reason we're not proactive enough is because we don't price properly. And therefore we don't have a big enough budget, and therefore there isn't enough time. And therefore we can't do everything, so we don't do the most important stuff. Being proactive, the thing that more than anything else the clients want us to. It's the luxury in our head that gets left off. But in reality, it's the absolute essence of what would set us apart, what would help them see us as superb accountants that would deliver world-class service. The second part of the cause of there not being enough time is actually, it's time-consuming, it's quite hard work being proactive. So those are the two elements of the problem. We don't bill enough and it's hard to be proactive. Therefore, that automatically leads us to the two elements of the solution. We have to change the way we price, change the way we bill. And we have to change the way we deliver so that we make being proactive easier, a habit that flows through the firm like the words through the stick of rock. It isn't just a cliche, it isn't just an expression that gets used on our website and in our promotional literature, but is the reality of their experience. The true reality. So that's what today's going to look at, how we can change the way we price. We'll come back to that somewhat later. More importantly, arguably, how we can change the way we deliver. Change what we do and how we do it so there is more time, that it's easier, that there's greater impact, there's greater profitability from being proactive, from doing what clients really want us to do.